Hey guys, so we are back and here at AAMI Exchange 2026, and as always, I am with my best friend in the booth, Danielle McGarry, our VP of HTM. Danielle, here we are.
I can't believe we're doing another year. This
That's
is our
right.
fifth year.
Fifth year of doing this.
Fifth year, yeah.
It's fantastic, and this is a great year, 2026 here in Denver.
Yes.
Just at our main stage presentations, great opening keynote. There's a lot of buzz this year.
Yes, and we also have our highest attendance post-COVID.
There you go.
So super exciting. I'm glad everyone came out to Denver, and yeah, we just have a whole slew of great things happening this weekend.
And there is so much changing in the field. I'd say that's kind of the theme of this year, is it's a time of change. What are, the big disruptors, right? AI, cybersecurity, a lot of mergers and acquisitions. What else are you kind of hearing from folks about changes in the field?
I think one of the big changes, like you said, is really AI, the advent of AI, seeing, generative AI and predictive AI in healthcare, and seeing how it's really changing the roles of HTM professionals. I was in a leadership class the other week, and I said, the people who are going to be the most successful are the people that embrace this, learn it, and adopt it, because it's coming, and it's not really going to replace us. It's going to change how we do our jobs and make us much more efficient. So there's just so much out there, and the technology is ever changing. I think it's changing at a more rapid rate than ever.
Definitely, definitely. And we just did the State of HTM Field Survey.
Yes.
And we've got to be honest about these things, right? So many HTM professionals were reporting that AI doesn't impact them, or they're not. What were the results of that? Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, only 22% of HTM professionals said that AI was going to affect them, which is, I think, is really indicative of education that needs to be out there. Even like CMMS systems, you think of companies like TriMedics and Intellis that are using AI now to help, fix equipment. Like, one of the companies has this really cool triaging system where if someone is out there working on a sterilizer, the system is able to look at all the work orders of anyone that's worked on those sterilizers and say, this person was able to do it closest to you, and they didn't have to call in the vendor. Wow. And that's the person that's going to call and help you and mentor you through it.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that wild? Think about how I would have loved to have had that. We've all sat there not being able to, not quite sure what to do next, and it's a call to the vendor.
Well, not all of us. I've never been in that situation.
I guess.
But that's because I've never repaired
anything. Kind of lived it vicariously through me at this point,
I have lived it through you.
Right,
I feel
8 years in.
Am I honorary HTM now?
I think you
Has
are.
It been long enough? All right.
And I can't wait to see your skills at the repair-a-thon tomorrow. We're going to test and see. I'm going to
get to touch
medical
equipment.
If you're actually useful.
We've broken through. Well, you know who knows a lot about all this?
Who?
GE Healthcare.
They do.
Our sponsor of our live stream, and we're grateful for that. So let's bring our guest in. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
There you are. Look at that. You were already here.
Wow.
Amazing. The magic magic of cinema here. Yeah, it's good to talk to you again. So you've been on the show so many times. You guys have been a sponsor of this from the beginning, so thank you. Even given all that, take a moment and introduce yourself to folks.
All right. Hello, Aaron Gorel. I lead our service strategies and growth in U.S. and Canada for GE Healthcare. Yep.
And my name is Chris Clausen. I lead our in-house support business in the U.S. and Canada.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to see you again.
Yeah.
Great to see you
again.
Good
to be with you.
So you were sitting there all along while Danielle and I were bantering. You heard we were talking about the state of HTM.
Yes.
So what are you guys seeing? What are the big themes out there right now?
HTM has never been more critical, right? That, HTM teams, leaders, they're being looked to do more than fix, right? They need to be able to translate insights and give directives, and they're being looked at as trusted partners within the healthcare organizations, which is great.
Yes.
Right.
And then I think just the breadth of, you said M&A, and these healthcare providers continue to consolidate, and they're going ambulatory. And so HTM is thinking, how do I take care of, the equipment in more places and spaces? And so we see that certainly happening. And then I think just HTM is in the spotlight, right? You mentioned AI and data and analytics. I think healthcare providers are looking to their HTM program to say, hey, tell me what I should do here. Tell me when I should replace this. Tell me what's happening next. Give me the insights I need so that I can know what's going on with our patients before we have a critical incident. So I think HTM really is, they're front and center, and not just here, right? I mean, we're seeing that everywhere.
Yeah. And so that's all inside. And actually, before I go to that, I want to say, one of the top priorities for FDA this year is home as a healthcare hub.
Yeah.
So you're talking about those sort of different environments of care, not as it only different service lines, but now we're seeing this push to push care into the home, which by the way is good for the patient, we all know. You have better outcomes when you can get someone out of the hospital after an acute incident more quickly. If you can never get them into an acute care setting to begin with and care for them at home and avoid that, it's better. So before I transition, I wanted to mention that. You're right, and it's only going to broaden.
More and more.
Only going to broaden. So, but and that's kind of an external influence. But speaking of that, in addition to the things you see changing inside of the hospital, what are some of the external forces?
External forces, the analogy I was thinking of the other day, and this is, by the way, 30 years ago was my first AAMI. So it's exciting to be here.
Well, thank you for keeping and coming back.
That is a great anniversary.
That's great. Well, we're excited to celebrate it with you here in the booth.
So I've seen the
Can we get a cake?
Cue the cake.
Anybody cue the cake? Yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting, I think, when you look at the external forces, over the last couple of years, we've been sitting in front of you, and we've talked about a number of these, and the reality is they're here, right? And the analogy I was thinking of is driving. I drove up to Estes Park yesterday or Thursday just to view the Rocky Mountains, and so I was looking at the mountains from a distance, and they look beautiful. It's kind of like the challenge is the closer you got to the mountains, the bigger and bigger they looked, right? And when you got there, you're like, oh, now I've got new challenges to keep going because the road's windy, et cetera. So I think our customers have seen the challenges coming, but now they're living them. So when you look at AI, you were just talking about it, and over the years we've talked about our AI-enabled tools, our predictive technologies. We have AI in evaluating imaging and our imaging equipment, but the reality is I think it is incredibly useful to our customers, and many of them are trying to develop their own prompts to analyze their install base, their service records, and those are areas that we're investing in heavily as well. And it's not just about taking their data, but how do you overlap that with like a GE data or others' data to get a cleaner picture? But then layer in clinical data, utilization data, right? There's a number of things you could do with it to provide more data-driven insights, right? So I think that's a big one, obviously. You're seeing that, and it's in many of the talks this week. Consolidation, that's been happening for the last 5 to 6 years, and customers have done it to get the economies of scale. They were seeking the economies of scale. They were seeking lower cost of capital. But now they're in it, and they're looking for new ways to improve. How do I have this environment of constant improvement to continue to deliver to our patients and also our facility, right, the healthcare provider. Third is, and you mentioned already, cybersecurity. Over the last few years, we've a lot of actions on remediation and how do you harden devices, but now everybody is thinking about the zero-day event, right? How do I respond with speed and take care of those situations, make sure our organization's protected. So I'd say the final thing that I'll mention is just total cost of ownership. And everybody's talked it for a long time.
Yeah, that's a huge topic in healthcare, especially when you're thinking about major capital acquisitions.
Yeah. So now it's not just the cost and the cost of service, but really looking in how's that equipment performing, what is it delivering to the organization, how is it impacting our patients. So I think the equation's gotten a little more complicated, so there's opportunity to work together to solve that.
Yeah. So what questions do you have for these guys? You know a lot more about this field than I do.
I guess, what else is new? What else is going on in GE? Do you have new equipment coming out, new servicing options?
Yeah, I mean, GE is everywhere making everything, right? So I think that in itself is how do we simplify that and really benefit along with what Aaron said, as these healthcare providers are achieving economies of scale, how do we partner at scale? How do we do more things at enterprise earlier on in the technology decision-making process all the way through to replacement? Can we think about that from a cradle to grave? Can we be enterprise truly in how we think about that? And so I think we're talking to customers a lot about that and trying to challenge ourselves to grow and be better. We've had organization changes recently to get simpler, to be more streamlined, to be able to move with speed in some of our investments in that space. And I think a specific thing I would point out, AI obviously is the buzz, right? And we've been patented in on device and doing AI for a long time. And I think what we're challenging ourselves in is how do you actually leverage and utilize AI in strategic ways, in meaningful ways that are safe to bring real insights you can trust. So for our engineers, we've been seeing a lot of benefit from conversational agent, utilizing our documentation and intellectual property as well as service records, they're getting tons of productivity. And so we're exploring how do we take that to our in-house partners. And so even right now in our booth, if there's folks watching and listening that want to come by and see some of the things that are in development, we'd love to show, and we're working with a number of customers to develop that. So those are some of the things that we're doing and seeing from new and exciting and yeah.
And I did a product spotlight with Heidi Donlinger about this, the Ready Fix.
Ready Fix, we've got Ready Fix spotlighted
do you?
here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, well, I'll have to come see
by.
it live. But as like a previous clinical engineer in the hospital, even those small tweaks, being able to see all of the EKG carts, you want to make a systematic change to a setting. Like now, I used to have to go find all 100 carts. Some of them weren't even on site. I have to drive. Like I just feel like you have really revolutionized our roles as BMETs and clinical engineers with the solutions you've come up with. With greater growth in technology sometimes comes risk with cybersecurity, but I might be biased, but I've always worked in GE hospitals, so we've always had all your suites of equipment over the years. And I just thought the Ready Fix, even though I know you've done so much bigger and better stuff, like to me, just having lived that life, understanding that, I just think it's so great, like the solutions you guys are putting in where you can really do fleet management instead of individual device management.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that simplification, consolidation that you're talking about. So not to put you on the spot, but what are some other things that you're featuring in the booth this year?
Well, one thing I did want to highlight, and then the reason was 2 years ago we sat in front of you and for the very first time uttered the words Unite Channel Partner, and it was really remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Vintage.
Yes, and vintage.
My kids saying vintage.
After that conversation, there was a lot of buzz. Like, what does this really mean, and what does this mean for you? Why is GE doing this? And the reality is, we knew at that point we had to find different ways to partner with organizations that were traditionally competitors, right, in the service space. There's enough work for everybody to go around. We want to support our in-house groups, and now we have these partners in the Unite Channel Partner. And that program has just evolved greatly in the last 2 years. And of course, both organizations receive some sort of benefit, and there's business reasons they want to do things and quality that we can deliver. But what's exciting about it is just the feedback we're getting from the hospitals that they serve. They feel the partnership now and how we're working together to solve the problem. So in the end, the benefit goes to the patient, right?
Well, and it's a patient access issue, right? Especially when you think of rural health and critical, and I would like for you guys to comment on this after I'm done my thought, but those are the hospitals I feel like, I don't want to say suffer because that's a very dramatic word, but they're affected the most, right? Because as good as you guys staff your regions, there's always going to be these isolated areas that are hard to reach, and it might be a couple hours before someone gets there. And you think about it, in a rural hospital, or maybe they have one CAT scan, and now they can't do that brain scan on a potential stroke victim. It affects patient access and patient care, and I feel like your Unite channel is I would say probably really helps that.
It does. It enables more people with the tools, the technology, and the training to take care of it. And I think if you layer on top of it the predictive technologies and the remote fix technologies, so now we can say, hey, you have to send an engineer 3 hours to get to that site. But maybe you let them know a day before that they got to go, right? And they're going to have a problem coming. So now you can utilize and deploy your resources and your teams differently.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have like all these different layers now where like it's redundant. I guess good redundancy where you're not really probably seeing that as much.
Yeah, and it's not enough to send a human to the problem, right? They've got to be there with the right insights and productivity tools, as Aaron mentioned, to know what's needed and be able to respond. So, those tools are so critical, as well as logistics and our supply chain. There's a lot of things that we've been doing and investing into, not just harden our supply chain, but, bring it closer to where our customers are, so that if you have a site that's 6 hours, 10 hours away, that can we get that part that's needed? You might have somebody sitting there waiting. And if you don't have that part, so the predicting it, getting the part moving there, understanding our human resource, as well as training. So, we're offering different modalities for training in terms of, hey, what can we do online? How can we bring training in the field, which has been a success. We're taking it to customers, doing it at their facilities. So I think it's, as mentioned, it's a multifaceted, multi-pronged problem to solve, and it really takes looking at it kind of holistically. We've got to do all the things to take care of our
Agreed.
geographically challenged sites.
And I think people like options, right?
Yeah.
And I think being able to bring training to people, obviously when there's a fiscally challenging year, travel and training is usually the first to go. Not everyone, when you think of like true capital planning and life cycle planning, I would always think like when I would do it, I would bundle in training, right?
Smart.
But because now you've bought it as your capital asset, right? But I don't know that everyone does that. And I think, I've had the pleasure of being out in Waukesha multiple times at your beautiful training facility out there. And I don't know if people aren't familiar with it, if you want to say a couple words about it, but it's
our healthcare institute.
Yes, your healthcare institute.
It's a staple. Great training provided there. Thousands of hours of training every year. But no matter the technology they have there and what we deliver and how we enable people and the field engineers, everybody comes back talking about the food and how great it was.
Yeah, it does have good food there. I will say the cafeteria is gorgeous.
Right.
When I visited, they didn't feed me. I'll have to ask next time. So we've been bringing in lots of perspectives, what you're seeing in the field. I want to narrow it down just a little bit because we were talking about, we did our State of HTM survey, and it gives us a good read on what people are worrying about in the field. But if you had to pick one or two things that you hear from your customers, I'm talking about the folks in HTM on the front lines, what are they most worried about? What are they most spending their time thinking about, trying to figure out? What problems are trying to be solved out there?
Yeah, I think depending on the persona, right? If you're talking to the engineer turning the wrench, how do you help me do my job better? How do I know that you're going to give me the insights I need, the tools I need, so that when I show up for my customer and this is hard down, I'm going to be a hero in that moment. That's always going to be a North Star, because that is what the clinicians see is somebody walk in that's going to save the day, right? So we have to enable that in the field, and I would say from an engineer perspective, that's always going to be top of mind. When you talk about the HTM leaders, the clinical engineering leaders, whether they're reporting into CIOs or CFO or whatever the org structure.
Right, we actually had some data on that. So in the survey, there was a flip now, right?
Yeah.
Share what we found.
Yeah,
there,
so the most common reporting structure is the CIO now, followed by like a facility.
It's crossed that middle point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Aaron?
Yeah.
Well, it's a great question, because my first thought was you check the box, all of the above. All of them are challenges that they got to solve.
Yeah.
So I think some of the conversations I have, and I know your team has in particular, is help us prioritize. Hey, what is it we have to tackle first? Help us understand what's the return, where am I going to get the most benefit in the shortest amount of time? And it's kind of the RACI model, right? Like ease versus impact. And so that's where data does help, and also I think some experience from organizations like ours, we can bring that to them and say, here's how we've seen others do it. So I think that consultative discussion has been one it's been there for a while, but it's never more important than it has been today, right? So.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's a great place to finish, and I want to say thank you again for sponsoring this activity, and for coming and visiting us every year, and for 30 years.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
That's fantastic.
Thank you,
I'm old.
We'll get you a cake.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll get you a cake. So thank you so much,
Thank you guys
We
for
really
being
appreciate
here.
it. We really appreciate it. So, all right, Danielle. So who's next?
We are going to roll to a video.
We're gonna throughout the evening last night, we had a chance to visit some of our great exhibitors, and we had Darren join us with his camera, and so we're going to share that now. So who's first up on the list?
We are going to go to Gray Atlantic booth.
All right.
They're going to be showing us their solution to swap out OR booms and lighting.
That was cool.
Yes,
I really enjoyed that. All right. So without further ado, here's our little site visit last night. Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Thanks for being here at AAMI Exchange.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate you having us.
if you would take a moment, introduce yourselves to our audience.
Sure, go ahead,
do.
Trev.
My name's Trevor Higgins, COO of Gray Atlantic.
Greg Rowan, CEO of Gray Atlantic. It's good to meet everybody.
Fantastic.
Welcome. So, we heard you have a really cool solution here for OR environments.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your company and what it does and how it improves patient safety?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having us here. We're incredibly excited to be here. So Gray Atlantic, we're a fairly new company. We're about 2 years old. We provide healthcare infrastructure and capital equipment services, also some turnkey services, ceiling systems, wall systems, doors, windows, effectively build the entire operating room. But our shining stars behind us, which is effectively our surgical light and our surgical boom. And today we're going to be talking about our Lights On program, which we'll show you here in a second.
Super cool.
Fantastic. So we want to get into that, but first, this is your first time at AAMI Exchange.
Yeah.
So welcome, and what made you decide to come to AAMI Exchange?
Well, as a newer company, we have to deploy our resources with intent, and we wanted to come to AAMI Exchange because the HTM folks that are here are ultimately the foundation that keep the operating rooms up and running. And as you'll see with our Lights On program, this is a solution that solves problems, and we wanted them to see it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you're a new company. How long have you been in business?
2 years now.
2 years. Great.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We can't wait to see it.
You want to look at it?
Let's go check
Let's
it
see
out.
what it does. Come on.
Let's check it out. So behind us, you're seeing our national install manager, Jose Marti. What he's doing is doing what's called our Lights On program. This is zero downtime surgical light upgrade to our Solus 160, one of the most advanced lights on the market right now. And what he's doing is you'll see a lot of the infrastructure staying in the operating room in about 2 or 3 hours after surgical cases. You're not shutting your operating room down. You're not rescheduling cases. What you're going to do is finish your cases for the day and come in the room the next day, and you're going to have a brand new surgical light.
And what you've seen so far is they've taken the old light head down and the old spring arm down, and right now he's putting up the new spring arm into that spot, and he'll ultimately put the new light head on and then ultimately set the stop so it won't hit the ceiling.
Yep.
Oh, and no one likes a floating boom.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Really,
No one.
Exactly.
So how long would this normally take without this approach?
So the lights that we're swapping out, there's about 20,000 that have been installed around the country. It usually takes about 2 days on average for that to happen. So scheduling cases, moving things around, we're going to ask you for a few hours at night, and then the next day you're going to have your operating room upgraded.
So is this already deployed in the field?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ultimately, we launched this about 2 months ago, and we've had clients across the entire country, a lot of HTM teams reaching out with problems of obsolesced surgical lights where we come in and help out. So currently we're taking orders right now where we're putting people in line so we can make sure that we can allocate the right resources for folks that have surgical lights that are down, operating rooms that are down, and they need to replace them. So
and you'll do this anywhere in the United States?
Anywhere in the U.S., yeah. So that's a great question. So the installation teams are national, our service teams are national. It's a 5-year warranty, lifetime no drift warranty. So ultimately we want to make sure it's deployed, ready for patients, but also it's serviced on an ongoing basis.
Great. Isn't that super cool?
Yeah,
Instead of
very
canceling
cool.
a case or patient access issues, now you can quickly do it.
That's fantastic. Better for the patient, better for the provider.
Exactly, exactly. This is so innovative.
Yeah.
So we wish you a ton of success at AAMI
Thank you so
Exchange.
much.
We hope to see you here
Thank
every
you so
year.
much for having us.
And it was very nice to
Thank you
meet
very
you.
Thank you so much for having us. So good to meet you.
Guys.
Appreciate it
Thank
so
you
much.
for having us.
so much.
Yeah, thank
Have a
you so
great
much.
show.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
All right, that was really cool, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was so cool to see that live yesterday,
I
to see them
know,
take
I
that
know.
OR light down and put it on, put it back on.
I think that's a great example of the kind of innovation we're going to see accelerating in the field.
Yes.
And especially as we were talking about looking for new efficiencies, looking for ways to keep machines and equipment online. We're going to see a lot more of that, so I hope they're very successful.
And just uptime in general, keeping those OR, not having to take them out of service and cancel patient
Right.
cases.
Right.
So amazing.
It's amazing. So speaking of keeping equipment available for patients, we are now joined by an amazing organization, Project C.U.R.E. Guys, welcome.
Thank you
Yes.
for having us.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm
Danielle.
so sorry. We
No,
rarely
go
do
ahead.
that live on
All
air.
right, yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite interviews to do today. I am just so excited, and Amy is so excited to have Project C.U.R.E. here, since you're based in Denver, to celebrate all you do and really help drive your mission. So why don't you guys open up and let us tell a little bit about what Project C.U.R.E. is for those who aren't familiar with your organization.
Great, thanks Danielle. We are honored to be here today at AAMI, and I have big news to share right away today.
Oh, I like it.
Today is the last day of Project C.U.R.E.'s fiscal year, and we completed last night our 250th cargo container for the year.
Wow.
Wow.
Congratulations. So what that starts to tell you is we are here to talk about Project C.U.R.E. and all the work we do to ensure that where you live doesn't determine whether or not you live. We've been around for about 40 years. We have 7 locations across the country, and we collect and divert medical equipment from hospital systems, from medical manufacturers, from physicians and everyone else in our industry, and bring equipment into our 7 warehouses across the U.S. to make sure we have supplies and equipment ready to distribute in low-resource countries across the world.
Fantastic. And tell us, how many countries have you reached throughout the number of years you've been doing this?
In all the years, we are in 135 countries, which is just about everyone we can reach.
Wow.
This year, I believe it's about 48 that we touched in this single year.
That's miraculous.
That's fantastic. Now I want to do one thing though before we press on, since Danielle didn't let me do it. Introduce yourself so folks know who you are.
I'm Janet Thomas, and I'm the National Director of Procurement for Project C.U.R.E, and with me is my friend Steve Vanderzee. Steve is a longtime friend of Project C.U.R.E, and he helps run our biomed department across the country and bases out of Chicago.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you. So go ahead, Danielle. I was only teasing you. Go ahead.
No, my feelings.
I know how excited you are about this, and it's an incredible organization.
Yes.
So you should be.
So why don't you guys, so how can people get involved with this? I know you have multiple facilities across the country, so why don't we talk, you're headquartered in Denver, right? But you have many other locations across the United States. So why don't we talk about how people can get involved and how they can help?
Thanks, Danielle. There are so many ways that they can get involved, and I'm going to start with the basics, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve to tell the biomeds a little bit more about biomed engagement. But we do have 7 locations across the U.S. On the West Coast, we start in Phoenix. Down the middle, we have Chicago. Here in Denver, Kansas City, Missouri, and Houston, Texas. And on the East Coast, we have Greater Philadelphia and Nashville. So people come to us from all walks of life, from college students and even high school students, from medical professionals and non-medical professionals, to come help us do what we do. When we're packing those 250 cargo containers in a year, we need lots of help. Sorting supplies, date checking supplies, repairing the equipment, and loading those cargo containers. So almost anyone has a space at Project C.U.R.E. One of the really cool things about us is that we operate on about a 3% overhead. Everything is done by volunteers.
Wow.
215,000 volunteer hours last year.
Wow.
So that helps our staff of a small number of 35 get everything accomplished. So we welcome everyone to volunteer with us, particularly people in the biomedical industry. And I'm going to toss that over to my friend Steve.
Great. Thanks, Janet. I appreciate that. As was mentioned earlier, I've been working with Project C.U.R.E for quite a while. I started actually in 2015. At that time, I was a leader at Advocate Healthcare, and they came in, and their operations director came in and started talking about Project C.U.R.E, and just knowing what and how they do it, the work they do, I knew that was a company and an organization I wanted to partner with, and so we did. And I was blessed to have the opportunity to go on a follow-up trip to Ghana. It's something that I think is really important to share about Project C.U.R.E is the whole process that they go through with the equipment, and they're making sure that we're not sending equipment to a place that can't use that equipment. So there's a lot of vetting that's going on up front, and then once the loads are planned, we've got biomeds and we've got volunteers that are coming and making sure all that equipment is tested and prepared and all the proper accessories are put together with that. And I've just enjoyed that journey. Fortunately, my wife and I were able to retire a couple of years ago, and since then we've both been regular volunteers at Project C.U.R.E. I'm an ambassador as well with Project C.U.R.E. focused on reaching out to all the healthcare facilities and organizations in the Chicagoland area, continuing to keep that equipment coming in on a regular basis, but also promoting the organization from an HTM perspective and the role that all of the HTM community can play. It's so important. We talk a lot about volunteers coming and testing equipment, but when it's just as important as to repairing the equipment. So I can train a lot of people to test equipment. It's very difficult to repair. And so having that knowledge of how to repair the equipment and also what not to repair is really important as well. And we need to make room for that incoming equipment. We don't want to hang on to things that we know, because the experts have come in and helped us understand what we should do differently with that.
And I also just want to mention about CEUs. So a lot of people don't realize for volunteering at Project C.U.R.E. or any other philanthropic organization under Category 2 under leadership for renewing your CEUs, if you do less than 30 hours in a year, you get 4 CEUs a year, and if you do over 30, it's 6. So you can, with a maximum of 15 CEUs in that category over 3 years. So, it's not only just a way to give back, just to do a good thing, but you can also earn CEUs towards renewing your certification as well.
Yes, and that's so important. As a former CBET, I know how important that is, and then to be able to do it, it's a win-win. You're getting credit and you're also making a huge contribution to society and the world.
So
oh, we did it again.
Because we've been looking at each other
Twice,
this year.
yeah, that's right. We need to be looking at each other. So I do have a question. So we've talked a lot about the folks that are coming in, helping servicing, repair, testing, et cetera. Talk a bit about sourcing equipment. Where does this equipment come from, and are you looking for more organizations that might be willing to partner with you to take equipment they're retiring and make it available?
Absolutely, and we mentioned the 250 this year. That's going to be 285 containers next year.
Wow.
So this year the impact is 7.5 million people who have been touched by Project C.U.R.E. containers. It takes a lot of stuff to fill those containers. The first step in the process is we go out and we do a needs assessment and figure out what they need. And we come back to these 7 locations and we figure out how to pack that container. So 50% of every container is the equipment. Where does that equipment come from? The equipment comes from manufacturers and from hospital systems and from physicians' offices, as we mentioned, right? So we are looking for all the biomids here today and all our friends at AAMI to look around what's in your equipment graveyard, what can come our way. We do quite a few backhauls with manufacturers and take their trade-ins and put them to great use. So anything can come to us, whether you're in one of our 7 communities or outside and around the US. We'd love to have people send us equipment that is usable, that can be checked, so that we make sure it has sustainable cables and we can move forward for a long period of time and let that stay in use. We want to make sure when something goes into a country, as Steve explained, it's going to be able to build that infrastructure and make it stronger. That's what we're about, strengthening healthcare systems through everybody. So I think everyone attending AAMI can make a difference at Project C.U.R.E. and really to make a difference with those in need.
So that's a perfect segue. They have a chance, you've arranged something this week at Exchange that's new. They have a chance to contribute directly this year, right?
Yes. So let's talk about our repair-a-thon that's happening. Well, throughout the expo floor, they can come and drop by your booth and fix like a single piece of equipment. But on Monday from 12:30 to 3:30, we're doing a repair-a-thon where folks can come for the whole 3 hours if they'd like. It's worth CEUs, and we can get as much equipment fixed for Project C.U.R.E. as possible.
Isn't it amazing that we're doing this for the first time at AAMI? It's really exciting for us, and I think exciting for everyone who's seen. We have equipment that Steve has brought over from our Denver facility, and we welcome everybody to come and check in, either today during the expo hours or tomorrow during the expo hours. And then again on Sunday, as you mentioned, Danielle, you're going to get hands-on. We have test equipment there. We have tools there. Thanks to Fluke, they provided some additional testing equipment to us, and also to TechMaster Carts, who brought us some tools. And everybody can see a little sample of what they will do when they volunteer on site. And if you're not near Project C.U.R.E. facility, and you have an organization that services, we'd love to bring things to you. So we want to get that equipment out and ready to go at all points in time. So check in with us on the aisle 1100, see Steve, and they'll get you set up to test equipment.
Well, and I'm particularly excited about this because I get to touch equipment.
Yes.
I'm not normally allowed to go near equipment, so
it might
this
be the
is like,
last time you let him do it, but
come on.
You know.
So
I have great mentors, great trainers. So
that's a great point. One of the cells that I have when we're bringing in volunteers is a safe environment for you to test and get to know equipment, medical devices. I'm really super proud about the work that Project C.U.R.E. is with internships. So we've got students that are coming in from local colleges that are getting into the biomedical engineering field, and just being able to get them in that environment, they don't get that in school. So they're able to actually see the technology, understand how it interfaces with patients, and what the challenges are for maintaining that.
And this is such a priority for AAMI that our whole leadership team will be there on Monday to help as well.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wow.
Amazing.
I'm
that's
excited.
how I snuck in. They let me in.
That's
So
right.
I was wondering how that happened.
not to put you on the spot, but did you mention high school students as well? Or is there an age minimum or to do this work?
We start at 14 in our warehouses.
Okay.
We've actually had volunteers who have started in their high school careers, moved on through college, and stayed with us later on.
So this would be great to tie together with the work we're doing with HOSA.
Yes.
And all the students you're reaching through that high school students program.
Absolutely.
That would be fantastic.
Idea.
We're going to do that. We're going to do that. Well, listen, thank you so much for all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you,
and for
guys.
being here.
Yes.
I hope the Repairathon is a huge hit. It would be great to do it every year when we can handle the logistics. It's wonderful being in Denver this year,
Yes,
where you have a facility, but we're looking forward to great success.
Thank you
for all you do.
Thanks everybody for inviting us. We love being here. Look forward to supporting AAMI and all the HTMs throughout our communities. Thanks for all you do.
Fantastic.
Bye.
Thank you both. Thank you both. All right, Danielle, what do we have now? Do we have another wonderful site visit that you and I did?
We do. We have the Neon Coden booth where we stopped and looked at their physiological monitoring last night.
But you got all excited about that.
I did. I love
made
a good
beeline
physiological
over
monitor.
there. So, all right, well then let's take it away and look at our visit to them.
Hi, Reed.
Hi, how are you?
Reed, great to see you.
Great to see you. Great
All
to
right,
see you.
so we are here live in the Neon Coden booth looking at physiological monitoring. You guys are a longtime AAMI exhibitor. Thank you for your support of our exchange.
Of course.
So what do we have here? Let's talk about, this looks like a central station, right?
Yeah, so our central station, our theme for the show this year is Take Back Control.
Okay.
So what we've got here is our brand new central station that kind of features that theme in the way that we're moving from an all-in-one, which is a great model, but as far as controlling, being able to actually manage the devices, it's a little bit difficult because it's actually on the floor. So what we've done here is we've separated out the all-in-one model into a custom display, which we partner with Hall Research, and then an off-the-shelf micro PC. So you're able to actually put that device in the closet with a KVM, so that it's off the floor, so that no one's plugging their iPhone into it.
Yeah.
Someone who shouldn't be touching it's not touching
cord
it.
out, you lose all the monitoring.
Exactly. So again, in the idea of taking back control from a biomed and clinical engineering from an IT standpoint, you want to be able to control your devices. So a step we've taken to do that is, again, getting all this stuff away and out of the closet. So that's what we're doing there.
Is this a new service offering or product offering for you all, or has this been in the field for a while?
This is actually a brand new service offering. So we just launched this in March. It is the same software as our existing CNS. So for all our existing customers, they're going to be really familiar with all the clinical functionality, workflow functionality. It's really just same software, new hardware.
And you can do what, up to 32 beds on this?
Exactly.
Okay.
So 32 beds, 16 patients per screen.
Yep.
Full disclosure, 72 hours, all the good functionality for that as
Awesome.
well.
Full disclosure comes in handy.
It totally
with monitoring
does.
for
It
sure.
totally does.
So what do we have over here? Is that a transport monitor?
It is a transport monitor, but what we're featuring here is it's actually our new biomed training on demand.
Okay.
So typically we offer training. We're based in Irvine, California. We love to have people come out, train in Irvine, California. We can go through our whole product suite, but we realize that's very cost prohibitive. Travel's difficult these days. So what we came up here is travel on demand, where we actually send you a Pelican case. This is our 1700 transport monitor in it right here.
Oh,
You might be
cool.
familiar. We also call it the purse sometimes. Exactly.
You're good.
That's Vanna White, right? Anyway, so this would come in our custom Pelican case with our biomed training where you can scan. It would bring you to our NK University platform. So it would actually train you how to take apart and do maintenance to this device as opposed to having to come on site or have us come on site to train you there.
That's super cool. And this is all wireless, can go back to the CIC if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Very, very cool.
Wireless plugs into the back of our regular critical care monitors. It's our kind of all-in-one modular transport monitor.
And part of the servicing of this, do you also train on the networking piece, like making sure the IP addresses are aligned to be able to show and have the right, subnet mask and everything like that?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, because the Wi-Fi pack you can see up top there, it's right on top of the monitor there.
Gotcha, yeah.
So we also show you how to, connect to your network. We like to say you can use your network. We can install one for you. So we can walk you through that whole process as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to show this us today. We really love seeing new technology. So thank you guys again for exhibiting all your support of AAMI, and thank you guys for all you do for broader healthcare. This is very innovative.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Be well. Have a great show.
Well, that was fantastic, visiting Neon Coden.
Yes.
You really got excited about that physiological monitoring. I could tell that's like a cool advancement from some of your early days in the field where you didn't have all of that in one place.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they have been a long-time exhibitor, and we love our long-time folks that are here at AAMI Exchange every year. But you know who else we love? We love our first-time exhibitors.
Yes.
And we have one with us right now, so welcome. Would you take a moment and introduce yourself?
Yeah, great. My name's Mark Sue. I am the digital health strategy lead for Keysight, and we're one of the world's leading test, measurement, and design automation companies. And we traditionally have served communications, manufacturing, aerospace, and healthcare is pretty new for us. But given the trends in the increase in connectivity, in terms of electronic miniaturization, in terms of AI, there's a ton of unmet needs in the medical device world and the HTM world that we're eager to help serve, and that's why we've come to this show for the first time.
That's fantastic. So we were talking about that earlier in our opening segment, all the changes going on in the field around AI, around connected health, the FDA's big new initiative, healthcare, home as a healthcare hub. And so the work that you do in other fields is directly applicable, and I think we can learn from that. So take a moment before we go further in, just say what are some of the main things that you are doing and have done in other fields that you're transferring into healthcare and that we can learn from.
So probably the big categories of things that we've already helped a lot of med tech and hospitals handle are wireless testing, wireless standards, making sure connectivity is robust. I mean, with these days, it used to be that wireless in medical devices wasn't really part of the core functionality, but now you have things like wireless infusion pumps, closed loop insulin, and there the dependability of that wireless connection is super critical, and we have all kinds of solutions for that, with battery testing solutions. And on the healthcare IT side, we have, with the growth of EMRs and AI software and all kinds of enterprise software that the hospital IT departments work with, we have test automation that helps you deploy in the sandbox to really thoroughly test before you go live with a lot of really critical software. And moving forward, our goal is to really try to keep moving into the core of healthcare, looking at calibration workflows, looking at the way data flows through medical devices and through the healthcare IT infrastructure, and making sure at every single point we have solutions that help design, test, and validate all of those flows.
So are you looking at interference testing as well too?
We do interference testing. I mean, if you go to our booth, you'll see a solution called coexistence. FDA has mandated wireless coexistence testing for all medical devices, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
And so we have really turnkey solutions to do that.
So I think what's really unique when you think about interference, every hospital system is different. You have a different mashup of equipment. You may have a GE monitor, a Philips EKG card. Everything now is wireless, maybe with Alaris pumps, and I always say interference issues are the hardest ones to figure out, right? Because especially if it's intermittent, because you don't know what it is. Right. So if we're having a random interference issue at our hospital, do you come in and kind of evaluate that and help us find those types of solutions?
So we're not a service provider. But what we do is we have all the tools that will be that you can use to do that. So for your example of some strange intermittent interference.
Yeah, maybe it's putting in the refrigerator or something, yeah.
Like for example, we have something called the Field Fox, which is this really high performance signal analyzer that can measure whatever is happening in the electromagnetic spectrum in the hospital environment. And you can use that. But even more so than just the equipment, we have application engineers and engineers that try to listen to your problem and are willing to work to customize a solution around your specific problem. And that's kind of, I think, where the combination of the highest performing equipment as well as software solutions combined with our teams coming in to really customize solutions for you is where Keysight really shines.
Fantastic. So, and you mentioned you've been in other fields for a long time. Say again what some of those other fields that you've worked in?
I personally?
Well, I mean the company.
Well,
aerospace, I think you said.
If every device, every handheld, wireless device, it's 5G, it's going to be 6G now. Every cell tower, all those communication customers are Keysight customers.
Okay.
Aerospace, big Keysight customers. If you have electronics in your pocket here, all those PCBs and chips were manufactured using Keysight test equipment.
It's fantastic.
And then if you went into a patient portal recently, in your hospital, that patient portal might have been tested with software test automation from Keysight. So we span a really broad.
It's a very large company.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So how many people are you, like Keysight as a whole company?
Oh, I should know this, but it's tens of thousands of employees.
Right.
It's very large.
So this really is an example of healthcare being able to benefit from the work done in other fields. And equally critical fields, aerospace, et cetera, et cetera. These are high criticality applications.
Absolutely.
And so you're just bringing that tested capability into our community.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and how long have you been in healthcare now as an organization, not you personally?
Well, in the digital health sort of business unit at Keysight has been around for probably about 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
And
this is your first time exchange. Where were you?
This is a first time.
Where were you for the last 6? No, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. We're glad you're here now.
Yes.
We're glad you're here now. Yeah. So Danielle, you know so much more about the details. About any more questions you want to ask about applications in the field or any other service line? We talked a lot about interference.
Yeah.
Any other service lines you really want to dig into a little bit?
You want to talk about
cybersecurity is a big. We have end-to-end cybersecurity. For the device manufacturers, we have everything from bare metal validation to IoT fuzzing solutions for the device manufacturers. But then for the folks in the hospital deploying, we have network security solutions. We have we're working on assume breach penetration solutions for the biomeds out there. We're looking to help automate those calibration processes because one of our strengths is test automation software. And so combined with things like the simulators out there, we have the capabilities to really automate a lot of that workflow.
Wow, and that's huge. The FDA came out and said that over 50% of medical devices have at least one vulnerability, which I'm sure it's even higher. Can you speak to a little bit about what you're seeing out there in the healthcare realm around cybersecurity?
What I see is a lot of concern, of course, a lot of attention, but maybe a little bit behind on the expertise and what to do with it.
Gotcha.
And healthcare especially is burdened compared to a lot of industries with a slower turnover of technology.
Right.
So you have a lot of legacy equipment with a lot of vulnerabilities, but a lot of threat. I mean, the amount of ransomware threats and other attacks going into healthcare providers as well as medical device manufacturers is obviously growing, and any tools that help turn you into an expert.
Yes.
Right.
Are really helpful, and that's what Keysight does. We don't really do your cybersecurity for you. We give you the tools to be able to protect your.
Well, it seems so. I don't take it as discouraging that the healthcare field may be a bit behind. Maybe it is discouraging, but it's also an opportunity. That means the gap can be closed very quickly if there are things you're bringing from other disciplines, other industries into healthcare. So that's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah.
It is exciting. It's exciting we're excited about our potential to benefit the healthcare industry in terms of really bringing the promise of health tech. I've been around for long enough to see all the promise of digital health and health technology, and I think it's only just now really starting to pan out.
Right.
And it's partly because it's hard, and there's a lot of moving parts in the ecosystem of digital health, from the sensors to the devices to the health information software to the providers and the patients and the payers. And all of those connections need a lot of testing, frankly.
Right.
That's really hard.
And,
but a lot of other industries have tackled this stuff.
Right.
Like you said, other mission critical industries have tackled this stuff, and so we're eager to bring that to healthcare.
That is fantastic.
That's great.
We are so glad you're here. Sorry to tease you about not being here sooner. We're glad you're here now. And I think we need to go by the booth and see some of this
I think
stuff.
we definitely need to go check it out.
Sounds
yes,
very, very
sure.
cool. So we'll come visit you, and thank you for being at AAMI Exchange and for bringing what you're bringing into the healthcare field. It's desperately needed. So
yes,
thank you
so much.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for exhibiting.
All right, thank you.
Welcome to AAMI.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So do we have more of our awesome site visits now?
We do.
Where did we go next? It was such a busy night.
I don't know. I need the paper.
Yeah, we changed the schedule?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I think we should do?
He swapped it up.
Oh, that's right. Well, MJ's glaring at us
we're going AR,
off
VR?
camera like, I told you what you're doing. Why can't you keep up? AR, VR theater, you said?
Is it AR, VR next?
Fantastic.
Okay.
Oh, this
So
this one's kind of funny.
Yes.
You couldn't see what, I wasn't doing anything while you had the goggles on. All right, so let's just roll it and watch
Yes.
it together, our visit to the Part Source AR, VR theater.
Experience.
Experience.
Yeah, AR, VR experience. Sponsored
not
by
a thing.
Part Source.
All right, that's what she said. Roll tape.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Danielle, great to see you.
Good to see you again, Matt.
Good to see you, Robert.
So we're here live on the AR, VR experience on the expo floor, sponsored by Part Source. How excited are you to be here today?
I'm stoked to be here, sponsored by Part Source. You know, this is our 4th year doing the AR, VR experience. We couldn't be more excited. We've got a big video wall this year to show off all the work that we've been doing. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, so tell us about the product, the offering, the service.
It was at the AAMI last year that Part Source announced that they acquired Invert Labs, and so we really took the last 3 years of traction that we have with Invert Labs and are able to parlay that into an enterprise platform for upskilling technicians, right? And so it's everything that a workforce platform ought to be for technicians, including digital content training, also competency management, really identifying who on your team knows what, and then finding ways that you can use technology to upskill them quickly and in a scalable, remote way.
And this really revolutionizes how we can train, you know, how many technicians you can train at once, and just really bringing training to people that maybe don't have access to training. Do you kind of want to talk about how this is rolled out, and like, are you doing this everywhere in the nation? Like where?
Right, so right now we're doing alpha and beta testing at certain hospital systems that have large spread out teams, right? And so the major advantage for doing XR training is that it's scalable and it's deployable across spread out teams. And the larger the teams, the more opportunity there is for training and understanding like who's got what competencies on their team, who could benefit from having a pathway to upskill into the next thing for their career. And so that's really the big advantage of doing training this way.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, you were a pioneer in this, figuring out, building the platform, as you said, and Part Source bringing you on board. They're always forward thinking, trying to lift the field, but we've got to see the proof in the pudding. So can Danielle put a pair of goggles on?
Yeah, you want to try it?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's try it.
Let's do it. Let's get them on.
All right.
And we're going to be seeing on the screen everything that she's seen in the virtual reality environment.
Right. Well, so we're gonna walk her through a module. It's actually the same module that you see on the screen behind me. It's a MedRec contrast injector. It's one of our favorite modules. What I like about this one is we've put hundreds and hundreds of technicians through this module, and so they can actually see a full procedure. They've got a voiceover in their ear that's kind of walking them through step by step. There's also an instruction board that kind of tracks them through all the different procedures that they have to do. So right now,
Danielle, how are you doing in there? How are you doing in there? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
You're in a different world now, and it's AR, VR. So is she in AR mode or VR mode?
So this particular module is full immersion. Our new platform, one of the cool things is it's all mixed reality as well. So you can also see everything else.
So you can be seeing the real world environment with an augmented reality overlaid.
Exactly.
Or it can be a fully simulated environment.
Yeah, and it's either or. So really cool.
Oh, we broke it.
Oh, I didn't.
That's okay, Danielle.
Can we get a reboot?
So what you see in front of you right now is you should see a message board up in front of you.
Yep.
Does it say start module? Did you already?
I already did that.
Okay,
I'm
great.
3 steps ahead of you.
So if you look to your left, you'll see the MedRat Stellant.
Yep.
And then the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to grab the wheel and kind of flip it over. So if you reach your hand out towards it, you'll see maybe your left hand, you'll see that big wheel kind of comes out.
Yep.
And then
on the bottom or the top?
So right on the side of it, there's a big wheel, and then you can actually rotate that over.
Okay.
And then once you get it faced right side up, it should make a little chime.
Wow, it's wild to watch what you're doing on the screen, Danielle.
All right, it's up, right?
Perfect. All right, so now what you would do is you would grab the 2 screwdrivers that are on the table.
Okay.
And you're actually going to pry off those knobs.
All right, now I'm going to take this knob off. Oh, I need both of them?
Yeah, well, you start off with 2 screwdrivers, one in each hand.
Okay.
And you do a prying motion to get that screw
right here,
that knob.
This knob right here. Let me pick up the screwdriver. Oh, sorry, Robert, I can't see you.
So Danielle, I can tell you're having too much fun. There's no way I'm getting you out of here. So I'm just going to say thank you, Matt.
Hey,
and thanks to PartSource for being here. We really appreciate it. And Danielle, have a ball.
Thanks.
You poked me in the gut in the middle of that
I did. It was
thing.
an accident. I almost hit you twice.
I didn't know it was going to be dangerous, but you were having a lot of fun with that.
I was. It was super cool. I really like, on a serious note, how you can bring training anywhere. So if people don't have the ability to travel, the funds to travel, you can get those goggles and you can train on all different types of modalities.
Yeah.
So it's just really revolutionizing training.
Yeah, it's been very cool to see that develop over the last few years. It's been a part of AAMI Exchange, and now that organization's a part of PartSource, so we're grateful to them for doing the experience.
Yes, the AR/VR experience.
Not the theater, the
yes.
experience. So yeah, stop by and see it if you're here at AAMI Exchange. And
yes, and they have all different modules. I was doing an injector, but you could do, they have a tube replacement, they have infusion pumps, so there's all different modules they can check out over there.
That's very cool. So that's cool and new. We have something else cool and new here at AAMI Exchange, the Dental Pavilion.
Yes.
Yeah, say a little bit about that.
So we're very excited to have the Dental Pavilion this year. Dental care is part of healthcare.
True.
Dental servicing is part of HTM. So we have 16 vendors that are part of our first Dental Pavilion, and we have one of them here. We have
There
Acteon.
they are. Look at that. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you guys. Thank you for coming to Exchange, taking a chance on this. I hope you guys are blown away by this expo floor and the event. But before we start, why don't you both introduce yourselves?
Okay, my name is CJ Young, and I'm an equipment specialist with Acteon.
Hey, and I'm Ernesto Filizola. I'm the technical subject matter expert and educational manager at Acteon.
Great. So why don't you tell us what Acteon does for folks that are, a majority of the folks here are not really familiar with dental as much, right?
Sure.
So why don't we educate them on what you all do?
Sure, so Acteon is a medical technology company that was established in 1946. And over the last 80 years, we've evolved in technology and pioneered certain aspects of dentistry. So, for example, we invented the first piezo ultrasonic scaler used in dentistry in 1972. In 2009, we pioneered a fluorescence technology put into a camera where you could actually get FDA-approved cavity detection using lights instead of x-rays.
Wow.
So really cool stuff. And then, fast forward to now, we've got a complete imaging portfolio, including 2D and 3D cone beam CT.
Very cool. So you do the Panorex?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some innovations in the dental field. It seems like there's been a lot. And so what are some of the things that you're seeing that change in terms of dental practice and the equipment that you provide? Say a little bit about your place in the field and what you're seeing.
I think for me at least, what I see a lot of is just the innovations with AI and how now a doctor can take a scan of a patient and use AI to help them plan out their implant cases. Whereas it just made the process so much easier and streamlined to where now a doctor can take a scan on a patient. If they need an implant surgical guide, they can design the guide right there in the Acteon software and then send it to a 3D printer. Whereas in the past, this took multiple locations and time, and so things have just gotten a lot more streamlined than they used to be.
Gotcha.
Wow. And you have a device in front of you. Do you want to talk about what that is and kind of show it off?
I do. This is one of our intraoral cameras called the C50.
Okay.
We just launched this a couple of years ago, and we're really excited about it. One of the nice things about this camera is that it is high definition. So if you're talking pixels per inch, 1920 by 720, so you're going to get really good, super sharp images inside the mouth. But the other thing that's really cool, I mentioned the fluorescence technology earlier. This camera, you can purchase it with the fluorescence technology, or you can purchase it as a standalone HD camera. So I can take this camera, I can flip it into a diagnostic mode, and I can see the decay on a tooth, or I can see plaque buildup, inflammation of soft tissues. So there's a lot of diagnostics that are built into the camera handpiece itself. So very nice.
That's very, very cool. So would someone at a normal dental appointment, would you see that in your dentistry office, or when would you see this, or when would it be used on a patient?
I mean, every time you would go in and get your teeth cleaned, it would be a time for them to document, because you want pictures anyway, even if you don't have anything wrong, just so if something comes up later, they can go back and look and kind of see where this came from. And so the other thing that was nice about the diagnostic part is, a lot of times seeing is believing.
Yep.
And so if I can actually see on the screen, the decay or the buildup and co-diagnose with my patient, it makes it a lot more likely that the patient will accept the treatment that they need because they're looking at the actual problem on the screen.
That's fantastic.
Very, very cool.
So I want to ask a question about support in the field, servicing, et cetera. How does that work with, you have a broad range of devices. Is that in-house, or dentistry practices take care of this equipment themselves? Are you providing service? Is it third party? How does it, dentistry is a little different than some in traditional healthcare settings.
So you want me to answer, or you want to take that?
Yeah, so we actually sell most of our products through dealers and distribution. We rely on our dealers to get educated. You know, I run the education program at Acteon. And ultimately, it's up to the dealer to get certified and learn how to install the device and service and provide preventive maintenance for the device as well. So we do provide support to our dealers for the lifetime of the product. And we also have a help desk where end users call in. We can remote in and resolve most of the issues remotely. About 90% of the cases are resolved remotely through remote support. Yeah, and I'm here today, obviously, to give a certification course actually on how to install our CBCT device, our newest CBCT device, the Optima.
And for those people who may not know what that is, can you just tell the...
Yeah, for sure. So we have our extraoral X-ray device, which is the Xmind Prime Optima. It's the newest CBCT device. It's got a 17 by 12 field of view. And as far as extraoral devices go, I would say Acteon has also pioneered that space as well from a technical perspective. The Optima is one of the easiest devices to install and service. It's also one of the most lightweight devices. It mounts on the wall. It's one of the first devices that was sold mainstream, that mount on the wall. So yeah, that's what we're here doing today, getting a lot of the biomed techs out here familiar with the technology, as well as some people that are already with Uptime, getting them certified at a deeper level.
That's amazing. And so you said your dealers will buy from you and they'll have technicians that have to get certified and trained on how to obviously maintain your equipment.
Correct.
Do you also have a field service team working for Acteon, or do you only go through the dealers?
We do. We have a help desk with several support agents there, but we also have some field techs that are able to travel and go out and put out some fires when needed. So we do have a support team that goes out and assists the dealer when necessary. If there's a case that the dealer feels like they can't handle or they need some assistance, we'll mobilize and we'll be able to fly people out.
That's fantastic. Well, we're so delighted you're here and to be working with Uptime Services with the Dental Pavilion, because we're seeing increasing consolidation. At the VA, when you ran your part of the VA, dental was a part of what you managed, and now in other healthcare settings, we're seeing that merger of those two activities. And I love what Russ always says. I think the mouth is part of the human body.
Yes, it's a rumor, right? It's a rumor.
That line.
Very important
yes.
part.
Yeah. So we're delighted to see the field coming together.
So how do you guys feel about being at Exchange? What do you think of it now that you're here?
This is great. It's a lot bigger than I had anticipated because this is my first one. And so it's been really good to see all the vendors come out and support the program, but also to provide that training for the technicians and stuff so they can get out and do what they do.
Yes, and thank you for providing training as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, to folks that are watching this is our first time doing this together. It's the show itself that we folded into AAMI Exchange has a long history, but we want help getting the word out to technicians and service providers in the field. AAMI Exchange is the place for you.
Absolutely.
Come and meet folks like Acteon face to face, get that training.
Absolutely.
And let's integrate these communities and move forward together. So
yes.
About time.
It is about time.
It is.
Long
And it's a
overdue.
great cross-pollination, I would say.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of general biomed technicians here that may want to learn about dental. And then on the other side, there may be dental technicians that want to expand into the general areas and learn different types of modalities and equipment. Because, you know, there's so much, right? You know, like the Panorex is a CT, right? And you have your imaging, so you're dealing with X-ray. You have your suction, your compressors, your vacuum. So there's a lot of equipment that just so much works together. And thank you guys so much for being here and exhibiting and being here as one of our 16 first dental exhibitors. We're just so excited to have you all here.
Hey, the Sweet 16.
Yes,
I didn't
there
think
you
of that.
go.
That's
There you
perfect.
go.
That's perfect. Well, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having
we look
us. We
forward to getting to
appreciate
know
it.
you better and having you as part of our community.
Sounds great.
Sure,
Thank you.
thanks. We're having a blast.
Good. Thank you
All right,
so much.
thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right. So Danielle, let's see if we can handle this transition. I'm going to push the schedule in front of you. See if we can handle this transition more smoothly. So Danielle, what are we doing next?
We are going to see our video about QRS solutions.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
That was a great visit. All right.
So amazing.
We babbled on for 5 minutes before, so instead of doing that, let's just roll the tape.
Yes, let's do it.
I could get used to this.
This is super cool.
This is really nice. Wow.
There's stuff in here.
Oh, wow. All right, so we should go talk to the guys. But I got to tell you, I'm going to ask them, can I drive the van?
Absolutely.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice
to meet you. Pretty cool setup you've got inside there.
Thank you.
So tell us about QRS Solutions.
So QRS Solutions started about 20 years ago. In January, it'll be 20 years, as a biomedical test equipment company. So we were going around calibrating people's test equipment, whether you're at a hospital, manufacturer, or third-party service provider. And a few years into it, our customers required or asked of us to start providing test equipment as well as an option to what was already currently on the market.
Okay.
So we partnered with Datron Systems out of Canada to provide biomedical test equipment as well. And so now, as of about 8 years ago, we are the U.S. master distributor for Datron Systems for the products and services.
Oh, fantastic. So you know all about this stuff. I just thought it was cool. What you see in there?
I mean, so much cool test equipment. So let's talk a little bit about the van. So you drive this around and you bring the equipment out from the hospital into the van?
We do. So we have a fleet of these that go around the U.S. We even cover Alaska and Hawaii. Of course, we can't drive vans there, but we have the equipment there. So we still provide the service on type for them. And yeah, we've grown to about 25% of the market here in the U.S.
So do you want to talk about the design of this van? I'm sure there was some thought that went into it from an efficiency standpoint.
There
so
was.
Let's talk about that.
So I actually started in a truck and trailer when I started doing this to keep costs down. And it worked well for me just being on my own. But as the company grew and I wanted to bring on more people and have drivers, I wanted to focus on the quality of the technician, not whether they could drive a truck and trailer. So I had to figure out a better way to do it. So I looked around at different types of vans and box trucks. We came up with the Mercedes Sprinter, and it allowed us to outfit it and do what we need to do for the customers.
That was so cool. So how many of these do you have in service? How many?
I actually represent Datron Systems.
Okay.
So I'm coming from, this is the test equipment that we make.
Okay.
But the vans, number of vans, you guys have like 6, 7?
Yep, we're on number 7.
So tell me about your
Yeah,
organization.
do you want to get a piece of test equipment and show it off?
Can I show the one on the corner there?
Absolutely. Let's go look at it.
Walk over there.
All right. So what are we looking at here?
This one here, actually, this guy right here. This is our latest infusion pump analyzer. We're quite proud of this device because it is a modular product.
Okay.
Like working in different shops, sometimes you need to have the ability to expand, or maybe you need to send it out for service. So completely toolless. I have these tabs on the back.
And show the camera. Let people see what you're showing. Yeah.
So we have the tabs in the back. We can press, and that separates my cover on the side. And once I remove the connection cable here, and now I can just press and push, and now that separates my modules.
Oh, wow.
I can actually grow this between 1 all the way up to 6 channels, and this can be connected to my tablet. And as you can see here, I can run up to 6 channels simultaneously as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, and it's on a tablet too.
That's correct, yeah. So you get all your data, you can do your PDF generation, obviously things like CMMS integration, things like that.
Can you save and download it later to the CMMS after you've done that?
100%,
So you can put it back, and then your customers can get all their data as well. That's really, do you integrate with all CMMS systems?
We have about 22 integrations.
Well, that's pretty much all of them. So yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
And that's exciting, but you've got a whole range of equipment here. And
that's correct, yeah.
You're bringing it to the site.
Correct.
It's really a cool solution.
Yeah,
So.
and all your vans are outfitted with all of this, just to be clear.
So all the vans are not outfitted with all this. We have the sales team that goes out and does the sales. Our technicians are trained how to do some after sales support service.
Okay.
So as they're servicing these, if customers have questions or things, they can help walk through the operation of the units.
And tell us again your coverage areas.
So the entire U.S. and U.S. territories.
Okay, fantastic.
Amazing. Well, thank you for letting us interview you and showing us all
Thank you
off
for
today.
coming by.
Very cool.
Enjoy
And
the
thank you.
exchange.
Yeah, thank you for being here at AAMI Exchange. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
All right, be
Yeah.
well. Wow, that was really cool.
It was so cool to walk through that van and see their calibration devices.
It was. I'm a little upset they did not let me drive it, for folks
I know,
wondering. They
but
did
you
not.
can't get your every wish,
But
Robert.
when they tear this place down, somebody's got to drive that van out of
They
here.
will. Maybe it's
So
you.
maybe I'll make a
Maybe
few
it's
laps
you.
then. Yeah. All right, well, let's get our next guest on air with us here. You want to introduce him?
Yeah, it's a great transition from one calibration company to the next.
There you go.
So we have BC Group here with their test equipment vendor. So why don't you guys introduce yourself? Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having us. My name is Lucio Simoni. I'm the engineering manager for BC Group. We do everything from designing medical test equipment. We do service, repair, on-site, everything all under one roof. We have our own machine shop and engineering and sales and service. So.
Fantastic. And introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Justin Barber. I do the Better Biomed YouTube channel, but at the same time, I'm Director of Business Development for BC Group International. It's one of the largest manufacturers of medical test equipment in the country, family owned. I've been doing it for like 40 years, and now I'm part of the family. We're designing the latest and greatest of medical test equipment. We're super happy to be here. We've had some great conversations so far. It's been awesome.
That is awesome.
Good.
Congratulations on the success of your podcast. I didn't know you had time for a day job still. I mean, you're a media mogul now.
I'm on the move constantly. Constantly
fantastic.
on the move.
Well, tell us about the equipment you brought in.
What did you bring?
Share
We
with
love
us some
a
of
good
the
show and
story.
tell.
Woo. Guys, check this out. We have the EPA 4100. That's the external pacer analyzer. It's touchscreen. It's quite featured. Notice right here, we've got all the current models of pacer, and it's got the loads and everything pre-built into it. But the real expert, the father of this device, is Lucio, and he is the engineering marvel behind most of our products.
Yeah, so what we try to do is take into account what the biomeds need for their equipment, all of their testing needs, and try and make things as easy and user-friendly as possible. So we have a color touchscreen interface here. Try and make all of the features and functions easy to use, easy to navigate, and also we can do all the testing that we need to with this product to handle external pacemakers, and so this also comes with built-in Bluetooth and rechargeable batteries for maximum portability.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
So how does that fit into your product line? You have a number of offerings, right? So
yeah,
say a little bit about that.
Everything from electrosurgical analyzer testing to infusion pump testers, defibrillators, pacemaker analyzers now, non-invasive blood pressure. So pretty much the whole range of test modalities that are needed.
Fantastic. So how did these get used in the field? Say a little bit about how this changes biomed's daily job.
Yeah, well, I think it makes it more efficient, right? There's a lot more different types of. Does that integrate with the CMMS system, so you can download the data right to it?
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely. So that really eliminates the burden of the techs having to go in and enter that work order afterwards. That takes so much time, and I think. Justin, being in the field yourself, you probably would say that the documentation is probably the least sexy part of our jobs, right?
Well,
it's the most important, but
the problem is we're eliminating user errors, and it is tedious. All it takes is one fat fingering of any of your numerics that you're typing in your results, and now all your results are questionable. So all it takes is one error. By automatically snatching that data, putting it into a format like a PDF, or send it to your CMMS system to automatically attach to your work order, you're eliminating that. So not only do you have time efficiency, but you're eliminating technician error. And we all know technicians are not very good note takers. And we put all the details right here. So not only do you not have to type them in, but there's plenty of evidence there that you did the proper job.
And how much memory is on that? How many devices will it save before I have to go back to my computer and upload all that information?
As much as you can fit on your phone, so
wow,
it's a whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could do a whole day's worth of pumps if I'm doing or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or EKG carts, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And the other thing we've done is, we've made a mobile device software platform called MyBC Mobile. And that works on both Android and iOS. That way you're not limited to one platform or another. So like Justin likes to show, he uses a large tablet with him.
Right.
You got to have good vision. You don't want to be staring at your tiny little phone sometimes. So it'll work on tablets, it'll work on phones, Android, iOS. And then that does all the integration with the test equipment. So that does all the Bluetooth communications. It'll configure the device, so I don't necessarily have to know exactly all the details of how to get to every menu, how to set up every function. It's built into the phone app. So
Nice.
It sends the configuration, it gets the readings, and then it uploads to MyBC Connect. which is our web server and database management system. It generates all the reports.
Oh,
it does all the
and that's
higher
what
level.
integrates with the CMMS systems.
Exactly.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
So
very, very cool.
So I'm curious. You're the engineer behind this. What got you into this? How did your career lead you to this?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because you're designing some really cool solutions that have a real basis in the work of a biomed.
Right.
So, yeah.
It all started when I was a kid, and I loved to take things apart, and I could never quite get them back together. So I said, I've got to figure this out. So I went to school for engineering, and got a computer engineering degree from University of Missouri-Rolla. And then I started working with BC Group and started designing actually the very first product.
Wow.
So you've done this your whole career?
32 years.
So are you part of the family when Justin said it was a family-run business?
Very much. We're a very tight-knit group. Actually, we've got the very first employee that ever worked for us. 40 plus years,
Wow.
So
it
is
serving this field your whole career and a long history of the company serving the field. That's fantastic.
And I know Tim couldn't be here, but obviously he's a great supporter of AAMI, and we've worked with him very much over the years. And I want to segue quick to your BC University with CEUs. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how folks can get CEUs to help maintain their certification and how we're working together on that?
Sure, absolutely. So we have been working very diligently on creating an online platform where you can register as a student, you have your own portfolio, and you can take products like this, you can go on, you'll learn about a various product, you'll take a test, and you get a certificate. And especially if you're a junior level biomed or if you're getting into the industry, every one of those sheets of paper to your name is credibility towards your capabilities. And also, everybody's in this push for ISO certification, right? Having trained and certified technicians, even on your test equipment, is everything.
Yes. And the Joint Commission just came out with their new regs saying that you have to show that you're competent every 3 years. So that is a new, not just biomeds, but everyone in the hospital. So this can also really help to show, hey, you're troubleshooting a 12 lead EKG cart. How do you know that they know how to use the test equipment?
That's absolutely correct, and that's interesting. I haven't done any videos on that yet, but I completely.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go.
I completely forgot about that.
You're welcome, Justin. I guess got you new content.
Wow, got more work to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
It is true. So it is a work in development. So we just launched it, and we're developing content constantly. We have a huge catalog of test equipment. And of course, we're always developing, so that's just more work for me, right?
There you go.
But we're looking very forward to it. We're well represented in all the biomed colleges and stuff, and the goal is anybody that's getting into the industry at the bare minimum, they should have certification on all their different test equipments that they're using, maybe even before they get a real biomed job.
Agreed.
Right.
And I think it's very important. Like for our apprenticeship program, we actually, we suggest that they go to people like BC University to actually learn about, because I think it's really important to understand how the equipment works, but what we're going to be doing when they get into the field. Like how do you test? Like what is test equipment? And I think that's so important for, junior biomeds or folks that are transitioning into the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be bcgroupacademy.com. And that will be, like I said, it's a work in development. It's live now, but we are constantly working to make it better because we have so much stuff that we're trying to add.
That's fantastic.
And 1 hour is worth 1 CEU
yes,
of
that's
training.
Correct.
Yep,
absolutely.
If you're looking to keep your certification current. So, and one of the things I love about all of this is that a lot of people come to us and say, there's no way to keep my certification current. I can't travel. I don't have a budget. This is free.
That's right. That's right. It most certainly is. And since we're always developing content, that's going to be future CEUs as well.
Agreed. And you do not have to own BC Group equipment to use it. Anyone can come train, right?
No, your versatility is your utility to this industry. So I train on stuff that I might not ever see in my entire career. But because I know about it, it's going to help me in other situations.
Agreed.
You never know.
Or to get a job.
And you might see it. You
yes.
never know.
I really might.
Yeah, you might run across it. So, well, we are so grateful for you guys being here and for all your support of the AAMI Exchange, and love learning about the history of your company and your history. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you for many years to come.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for supporting certification, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Be well, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, Danielle, so what's next on our list here?
So we are going to the STERIS booth to look at their new modalities and talk about the newest certificates.
You got to switch topics now.
I got to switch topics. The newest standard, EQ135.
There you go. All right, well, let's roll that tape.
How are you?
Hey.
Thank you for exhibiting at AAMI Exchange.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
So, Steris, long-term supporter of AAMI Exchange. We're so excited to have you guys here.
Yeah.
And more recently, we've been working together on a new standard, EQ135.
Yeah.
How excited are you to be part of that process? And
We're super excited. We're
Yeah.
co-sharing EQ135, right?
Yes.
And really, we're just trying to improve repairs. Industry field repairs, we're trying to improve the process. So, super excited about it.
yeah, super needed, right?
Yep,
Quality and
Yeah.
well, thank you guys for being part of that and spearheading it and bringing it because that's the core of what AAMI does, right? You bring forward issues, and we, as a convener in our standards development, we have ways to bring solutions.
And that's what we support.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about this new technology here. What are we standing around?
Yeah, so we're super excited about AAMI this year.
Yes.
You know, not only do we get to meet our big partners and our big customers, but this year we're showing new solutions. So SPDs are all about utilities, and we're bringing new solutions to our customers with new utilities, whether it's steam quality, water quality. It helps improve the sterilization process. That's what we're showing this year.
That's the big new thing this year, huh?
Big new thing. It's all about utility solutions and helping
Fantastic.
our customers have better utilities. And when they have better utilities, they have better patient outcomes.
There you go.
Absolutely.
You guys have been coming to AAMI Exchange for so many years. You've been such a great supporter. We just want to say thank you. We're delighted you're here. And
We appreciate all the support.
Yes, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, thank
you. All.
Well, that was really cool.
It was super cool.
They're doing some stuff on the cutting edge there, and it's very fun to see new things. And you know, one of the new things we had last year that was kind of cool is we had a very large organization announce a rebranding on our show.
Yes,
right?
super exciting.
Intellis, and they're here
Yes.
with us now. So welcome.
Thanks.
Take a moment and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Dave Ox. I'm Division President of Operations for Intellis. Actually joined Intellis May of last year.
Oh, congratulations.
And so my trip to AAMI last year was a big celebration of the new rebrand.
Oh,
So
That's
very
it
good.
was a lot of fun. So
Well,
Jim
we
and
were-
Marley were on site last year and did that.
We
so.
were honored to have that take place on our
Yeah.
show. So do you have anything that big this year? Any
No.
rebrand?
No.
All right. Well,
No, but you know, it's been
we
a
have
great
a lot
year.
to talk
Lot
about.
to
We have a
talk
lot
about.
to talk about. And I think one of the topics that is big is AI. I think we're going to spend a little bit of time talking
Absolutely.
about that. So
Yeah.
kind of set that up for us. What do you
Sure.
what are you seeing out there in the field? There's so much going on.
Well, I mean, it's fun. AI is in everything you talk about today. It feels like everywhere you look, AI is involved. But in the healthcare technology field, it's really data driven. What are you doing to use the technology that's out there with AI to make everyone better? Our clients, our healthcare institutions are trying to figure out ways to use AI better. And we're using it to say, how can we make our technicians more productive, provide better information for really our clients when it's all said and done. But
Right.
it's everywhere.
And one of my sort of complaints that I run around with is AI is actually a terrible label. It's like saying we're going to use software, right?
Correct.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have much meaning in it. So what types of AI are you leveraging in the things that you're doing there?
I mean,
Tell
we're
us.
using it really to pull the information together when it's all said
Okay.
and done.
So
So if you think
analytics?
about, yes, so if
Yeah.
you really look at, you're out there, you're never going to replace a technician fixing something.
Yep.
So AI is not going to eliminate the need for a technician, but how can you make the technician be more productive and better? So for example, you've got a lot of history of a piece of equipment, how it's broken, what broke, how do you fix it? And so if you can get that information quickly to a technician to allow them to fix something faster, that's a win for everyone. You talk about first time repair, like what's your percentage when you go to fix a piece of equipment? Can you do it in 70%? Well, our goal is to get it to 80, 90%. So when a technician goes to the floor, they're able to fix it right away. And AI is helping them bring the right part to kind of do that.
So are you also using AI for like step-by-step like repair sequencing?
Yeah, we're trying to think through that. So our ultimate goal is we've launched Team Champs, which is the first mobile app in the industry. So it allows for our technicians to have an app, but it also allows for clinicians to have an app.
Oh.
So they take the app, they snap a picture of our barcode, and then from that they can say, this part is broken, this is what's wrong. It eliminates them having to go back to their desktop, calling our shop, whatever. It immediately starts a repair request. Well, what's great is AI then takes that information, looks at all of its database and records, and says, oh, you know what? When this breaks, historically it's this part that's done it, and it's this what you have to go do. So the technician's now walking up. So to talk about what we're doing, It's taking that information, giving to them in the palm of their hands, and they're able to go fix it right away.
That's amazing, and I'm going to make an assumption that helps them know what parts to bring, so they don't have
Correct.
to go up, do a first pass, go back down, so that efficiency and quickness where they can fix
Correct.
that device,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
And it's sorry to cut you off there, but instead of researching themselves and going to find it, now we're using the AI tools to do that for them. And then the ultimate goal is that also allows the clinicians to be more productive. They're not having to go back, a lot of times they'll go back to their desk, they'll forget to call in the repair because something else comes up, or they'll have to call or do it on the desktop, whereas now they've done it right away, and then they've also now are in the system, so when we're fixing it, they're getting updates right away in real time.
That's amazing. We were talking about the types of AI, and you mentioned speaking, so there's an LLM component to this, and it's natural voice,
correct,
conversational. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so we're just doing the best we can. Now, does every clinician carry a cell phone? That doesn't happen everywhere, but we're trying to stay ahead of the curve. And you said AI is a bad word, I get that, but we're trying to use technology to make everyone more productive.
Well, it's not a bad word, it's just a broad word. It's very broad, very broad.
Well, people say, what are you doing in AI? I'm like, well, it's hard to say, but we're really trying to invest as best we can. And the goal is really more productivity because everyone wants to be better, faster, and they want to be less expensive. So how do you become better, faster, less expensive? You use technology to help yourself in that way.
Yes. And even from the diagnosis of the equipment, if you think about it, we do our biomed sticky note competition every year with the most useless sticky notes.
Yeah.
I mean, that really eliminates the broken sticker, because they can't just call in and say broken.
Yes.
I mean, it'd be pretty hilarious if they did, but it's a much more specific, so therefore the algorithm can therefore start, diagnosing and troubleshooting it before the technician even gets there. That's amazing.
And that's our goal, and it's in the end, our clients, healthcare institutions, they want more data themselves.
Yes.
They want more information. They want utilization information, what's breaking down, and so all this kind of ties back into our technology ecosystem, which helps them be better. So ultimately, we're a third-party ISO, and we're there to be better than they can do on themselves or with somebody else. And so the better we can do, we'll have a better chance of growing our business and expanding.
And do you use that data to also help your accounts do total equipment lifecycle planning as well?
We absolutely do, and we're trying to understand that. I mean, clients come to us and say they have limited capital budgets.
Yep.
What are we doing? What can we go? And so with that information, we can help them make better decisions. We think this equipment can last longer. We think this could do there. And then at the same time, you have to fix that equipment that's older. So do we still think we can get the parts to do that and do what we can in that way? So it's really it's a combination, but the ultimate goal is, how do we help clinicians be more productive? And then how do we help healthcare institutions make better long-term decisions?
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, we really appreciate you being here, and you've been with the organization about a year.
Been in healthcare since 1989.
There you go.
There you go. One last thing I wanted to add, just if you don't mind me barging in.
Yeah, please.
Is when I talk about clinicians being better, we've done a quick data at one of our newer sites with these clinicians actually taking a picture of the unit and then responding back. And what we found is that just in that data site at one location, they saved 25 hours of time in a week.
Oh my goodness.
So if we can actually get back to clinicians' time, that even makes them more productive. So
that's staggering.
I'm not saying that it's, but that's what we're measuring. Because if we're telling the clinicians it's going to help them be more productive, they can spend more time with the patient, we want to prove that. So that's what we want to get to.
And just one follow-up question. Have you gotten good buy-in from your frontline technicians about how do they feel? Are they embracing this?
That's a great question, because they're used to, sometimes we basically say we're going to launch something and we need you to try it.
Yes.
Because if you try it, we can then learn.
Yes.
So I'll go out and I'll visit, so I'll ask, how's the mobile app? And they'll look at me like, well, I'm like, well, tell me what's wrong. And they'll say, oh, well, the font's too small, or I got to reduce the number of buttons I have to press. And so we're taking that information back to our IT team and changing it. So adoption is growing, but I just tell like anybody, try it, and we're just going to make it better. That's all our goal is to do.
Yeah, and we talked earlier on the show in our own State of the Field survey, there's a remarkable number of folks out in the field who don't believe yet that AI is really going to impact what they do, and that's wrong.
That's correct.
So we will help you change that perception, which will help you with your adoption within your own organization.
Yeah. I mean, if you
and for the better, not an impact in a bad way, a good way.
No, it's trying to help people be better in the end. When it's also, and we're struggling with, finding BMETs is the biggest challenge.
Right.
It wasn't like it was before where they came out of the military, you had them, and now it's trying to find people. So what we're doing with the apprentice program is a big deal to help people, but we're trying to find people into that space. And in the end, people are more technology savvy today. So we get younger people excited about it. I think we can grow it.
And to touch upon the apprenticeship, first of all, thank you for being an employer partner and helping develop the next generation. But when you think of our apprenticeship program, we really leave it up to you for how you want to do the supplemental instruction. And when you think about new technologies like AI and the specific technologies that you're using at Intellis, it's a great way to integrate that training into the program, because now they're learning that from day one in your environment, on your system.
Correct.
And it's just ingrained in them from day one. They're not going to push back because that's how they were taught.
Correct. Yeah,
so
absolutely correct. 100% agree with you. So that's fun. We're excited. So
yes.
It's a fun time.
Exciting. It's absolutely exciting. And what I was saying before, you've only been there a year, but your organization's been a tremendous supporter and partner to AAMI, and we look forward to working with you personally in that ongoing journey.
You have my commitment for that. So
we're delighted.
Great. Thanks for having us.
It's great to meet you, and thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for exhibiting, and thank you for your support.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks
so much.
Be well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, Danielle. That was pretty interesting. I love it. There's so many ways AI is getting used, and I mean, we can't say it often enough, for the better.
Yes.
For the better for patients, for the better for our biomeds, for our clinical leaders, for the better.
Yes.
And folks really need to embrace and learn about the new technology. It's not going away.
No. And the most successful technicians or HTM professionals are going to be the ones that embrace it, learn it, and use it, because it's going to make them more efficient. It's not an if, it's here, right? AI is here, and they have to be able to use it. I think every day as HTM professionals, whether it's, fixing a broken piece of equipment, adapting quickly to like a mass casualty and being able to help in the hospitals, all we do is adapt and overcome, and we pivot on a dime.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is really any different.
Yeah,
it's just new technology.
When I think some of the resistance comes from a lot of people's exposure to AI is only through media or the popular press.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. I mean, there's so much content in social media now and everything else, and so much press coverage. But the way AI has been being used by folks like Intellis is very disciplined, very structured, and it really produces great results. And so you can't equate what is going on in the general areas of AI with what's going on in healthcare.
Agreed.
And AI has been a part of healthcare for a long time,
yes.
in imaging, et cetera. So.
And I think it's really awareness, right? That people
right.
don't realize what they're using. Like you talk about large language models,
right.
how we're putting that back together to really look at large data sets. I mean,
right.
it's going to be amazing what it can do for us. And I think when only 22% said that AI will affect them, I think it's indicative of education, but I think it's a lack of awareness that maybe what they're using is AI. I think some people just think AI, like we said, is ChatGPT,
right.
or I'm not using it to write my emails. But then you think you have like these apps, like folks might not even realize what it's really doing
when
to
it's
help
embedded,
them.
It's not always obvious.
It's not apparent.
I think whether people are using it directly through an LLM or it's embedded in an application like this, I think it's important for people to understand how these things work.
Yes.
Because critical thinking is always going to be key in the human.
Yes.
And so understanding how these systems work when you're interacting with them, in those rare cases where something isn't quite right,
yes,
you'll be much better positioned to interpret, add your critical thinking to what the algorithm is producing or what the machine is producing, and add value.
Agreed.
So even if you don't realize you're using it, do a little reading, do a little learning. We'll offer more education on the subject, and so you can be a critical thinker who uses AI.
And to kind of piggyback, because that's a phenomenal point, and I think to really piggyback off of it is I think people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And when we had the ADA here last year, I remember the fellow saying, AI has the potential to do so much good, but it also has the potential to do a lot of bad if it's not in guardrails.
Right.
And I think as HTM professionals, that's where our value comes, right? We're looking, how do we integrate it with antiquated systems and legacy equipment that wasn't built for AI?
Right.
What can we do with our data to position us so that we can predict when things are going to fail, even if you don't have equipment with predictive maintenance yet?
Right.
I think it's really going to change how we work, but it's not going to replace us. And I think our jobs will become more valuable because what we are that liaison between the clinicians and the medical device manufacturers to make sure this is working, that it is making healthcare better, and that we are putting in guardrails and we are working with the hospital administration to make sure that we're picking the
what
right
you just said triggered the other thought in my mind, talking about do folks realize they're working with AI, not realize they're working with AI, but there's that critical thinking on the back end, but the more important thing is your field, HTM, clinical engineers, biomeds, can ask the right questions.
Yes.
And so even if you're not the one working with the AI, You need to be the one posing the right questions to the folks at Intellis and at other places, and open your mind. Say, what if I could blank? Whatever blank is, because the capability is so powerful, things you might not even have thought were possible in terms of analytics, interactions with the devices you're working with, they're possible now.
They are.
But it's only going to happen if you give that feedback and you ask the right questions, so the really genius folks who build these things can go design the solution to meet the needs of the biomeds.
And when you think of these large organizations like Intellis or GE Healthcare or TriMedics, what really is the perk of being part of a large organization is the amount of hospitals and equipment they touch daily and the amount of data and information that they have. So when you can almost have that repository, now you're looking at data all over the country, and now we can make bigger conclusions to say, hey, we've seen like so many of these infusion pumps failing constantly. Like maybe there's a major battery issue, you know, and that we can work with the manufacturers to, you know, because we have these algorithms pumping out this information to really look at these critical failures. And ultimately, it's about the patient, and they need the equipment when they need the equipment.
It's really the equivalent of the real-world evidence work that's being done on the patient side. This is real-world evidence for devices. So it's very, very, very cool. Well, look at us. We went on a little rant.
Wow.
And thanks to Intellis. They sort of triggered that. So are we done, or do we have something else on our schedule?
I think we're done for the day. I think we have to do more in-booth interviews.
Well, let's go do them.
Let's go talk and meet more people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, great. So let's go do that, and we'll be back tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks.